May 14th, 1949. That's a really important date to me because it was an important date in my family's history. My dad came to this country and their ship landed or docked in the harbor at Brooklyn, New York on May 14th, 1949. And the reason this is so significant to me is because his family, most of them, of his immediate family, came out intact from World War II, from 14 months of hiding and running in the woods in Poland. And I am always in awe of people who live through these really horrific situations and still come out and build a life and maybe have a family and become important people in their community. One of the stories that my dad told about the boat docking that was slightly off the harbor, it was at night, close to midnight, and they weren't accepting the boats to offload people. But coming from a small town in Poland, and then from a displaced persons camp for 4 years after the war, he didn't have a lot of exposure to big cities. And so here he was looking into Brooklyn and seeing all these highways lit up and buildings lit up, certainly not the way they are now, but for him in 1949, this was a huge deal. And he said all he could think about was, where are all these people going in the middle of the night? So, when I think about them creating new lives here in a big city, being refugees, needing assistance, and there were also a lot of cultural things to get used to, not the least of which was their surroundings. So I have huge admiration for folks who go through difficult times and still come up with productive, healthy, happy lives, even though they've experienced severe trauma. And so that's becomes part of my origin story. The other thing that I wanted to share is that the number 14 keeps coming up in some pretty significant ways on the calendar. February 14th, my dad died 25 years ago. He had cancer, but February 14th was the date of his first surgery in 1992, I believe it was. October 14th, 3 years later, was the date that he died. My mom died 2 years ago. She was buried on the 14th. And then here's a really woo-woo story from somebody who never thought that things like this could be happening to me or revealed to me. So my mom died on April 7th and wasn't buried until April 14th. It was the beginning of the pandemic. Funerals were being backed up. Funeral homes were backed up. So April 14th, and 1 month to the day, on May 14th, see, we're back to May 14th again. I walked out my door to let my dog out, and I hear honking in the sky, and there's one goose flying, just one. Tell me in the comments, have you ever seen just one goose flying? It's very rare to see that. They're always in a flock of geese. And I'm not somebody that usually would attribute any significance to that, but at that point, I was just still, in the beginning process of grieving my mom. And I went, oh, look, it may be that it's my father or maybe it's my mother. Either way, they're looking for each other. And I go back in the house and I come back out about 10 minutes later to bring the dog in, and I hear honking in the sky. And now it's 2 geese flying. Well, this non-believer in that kind of phenomenon looked up and said, they found each other. And so again, here's more significance about the date of May 14th for me. Please share your stories. I think a lot of people have numbers that are significant to them, or things that happen, or places they live with their address. Whatever it is, I would love to hear your stories. Take care.